One day, an awesome idea just popped into your mind. Such a cool character, you've got a really good idea for their story, and then you start writing, sitting down and writing and figuring out, oh, who can this character be? What's their story like? Then you start drafting, and the character feels a lot more meh on the page than in your brain. Fear not, this is a very easy fix. So here are 5 ways to instantly elevate any of your characters. What is one of the biggest hurdles why a character doesn't really feel interesting to watch? Let me know in the comments below what you think this problem is. Is it because they're not interesting? Well, no, we've already established that your character is pretty awesome and pretty interesting, and yet is feeling kind of dull. So what's going on here? Well, the problem is your character's lacking agency. Now, what on earth is character agency? Well, agency is your character's ability to make independent, meaningful choices that drive the story forward. This is not your character reacting to what's going on. This is your character actively taking steps forward in order to make change and in order to move the story's progress in a forward direction. For example, if the main character's town gets attacked, well, he's going to react in a way of, saving his family, protecting his loved ones. Maybe he'll join the fray and actually get involved in the fight. But once everything's said and done, the battle stills, what is your character going to do? Well, agency is going to be your character deciding, I'm going to figure out who attacked us, why they attacked us, and if I can prevent this in the future. Those 3 things are your character making proactive choices that'll actually lead the story forward. Now, what does a lack of agency looks like? A lack of agency would be someone says, hey, you need to go do this, and they go, okay, I'm gonna go do this. And then someone says, hey, you are actually the long lost king who's gonna rule this country. And they go, okay, I guess I'm going to try to rule this country now. And someone else goes, oh, by the way, you are the chosen hero and you need this really important sword. And they go, okay, I guess I'm chosen hero now. Both of these stories could be the exact same stories. Maybe this is a reluctant hidden hero, hidden ruler, unknown ruler. What is the name of this trope? But these 2 stories could be the exact same story. This could be a story about someone who has lived in this small village his whole life. It gets attacked, and through that, he realizes that he's this secret heir to the kingdom that he didn't know about, and now he has to take over. But the difference between the 2 is the first one, they're actually making decisions and actively taking action of their own free will and of their own choice to go forward with the story and to push the story along. The other one feels like they're being dragged through the story. So make sure that your character has agency in every single scene. Your character can have agency in the entirety of the story overall, but it's easy to get bogged down in the moments of drafting and return to Puppet Master pulling Puppet along the plot line. So make sure that in every scene and in every encounter, your character is actively engaging and making choices that will push your story forward. Now, your character has agency. Fantastic. That means they make decisions, but a sequence of decisions isn't in itself a story, is it? So this next facet is going to be very important as well, and that is growth arcs. Giving your character growth arc creates for us, the audience, this story and this person we want to root for. People love underdog stories because they love rooting for people going from a low point to a high point. We crave seeing positive change in people. We crave seeing transformation in character. So make sure that you give your story a growth arc. Now, here is a note on growth arcs. Not every character needs to experience a growth arc within the course of the story. You can have a character that's known as a flat character where they experience a flat character arc. In that, because they are who they are, and they are stoic to who they are, they force the world around them to go through a growth arc check out this video up here where we talk about flat characters. A good example of a flat character is Elliot from the show Leverage. Now, 4 of the 5 members of this team all go through a growth arc throughout the entire story, but Elliot doesn't change at all. His character remains static through all of the seasons, and is he a boring character? Oh, absolutely not. He's actually my favorite of the group, and here's why. Elliot had a growth arc in the past. And through the course of the TV show, you start learning about his past. You learn why he doesn't like guns. You learn why he's really good with kids. Like, there's all these different facets of him that begin showing up. And then you learn more about his past. You learn that he did terrible stuff and now he's a better man and now he has standards that he will not break. So you can still have characters who don't have a growth arc in your story as long as they have had a growth arc in the past. But the quickest way to enhance any character, whether it's your main character, side character, your villain, is to give them a growth arc, give them a journey internally to go on as well as externally. So this next section is one of my favorites when it comes to writing, and that is give your character a specific theme. Now, you've probably heard of theme before, and theme is really good to have in your story, but did you know that you can give specific characters their own theme as well? Toph is a great example of this, and I'll link the video up here where we go into her entire theme and do a deep dive into that. But Toph's theme is strength. Everything about her character, from her visual design to earthbending to her personality and her struggles, is all about strength. So grounding each character in a theme is going to be very powerful and is going to really help you in those problem spots. If you want to challenge your character, challenge what their theme is about. Go back to Toph for an example. If you want to challenge Toph and showcase Toph's growth, well, then you're going to strike a nerve somehow with her and her strength. People are trying to help her, and she's like, nah, I can do this myself. I don't need your help. That's hitting that pain point of pride because she thinks she's strong enough to do things herself when other people just want to help her because they genuinely love her and want to help her. So theme is powerful. Not only will it help keep your character on course, not only will it help make that growth arc stronger because they are connected, but it'll also help you have a little bit of a cheat sheet when you get stuck and you're trying to figure out what next steps your characters need to take. We've talked a lot about the root and the heart of your character so far in this video, but there's one other thing that you can do to elevate your character that'll really get them to stick in your audience's mind. And I call these defining qualities. These could be visual qualities, these could be personality traits, but this is going to be something that's recognizable and is attached to this character. You could call it a gimmick if you want to, but this is something that, like a character's silhouette, you can tell who is Mickey Mouse by his silhouette. You can tell, Cinderella by her silhouette. This is going to give your character a silhouette of sorts to really ground them in your audience's mind. Here are some examples. Percy Jackson and his sass. Percy and sass go hand in hand, and it's fun, and that's what we come to expect of the character. Aragorn and him being a rogue. Now, this is multifold. Not only is this his occupation, but being a rogue is more humble than being a king. It shows that he's grounded, and it shows that he has compassion for others and knows the lay of the land. It gives a deeper, richer understanding than just being up and, in the highest pinnacle looking down on your subjects. Sam and his simple loyalty. Sam is loyal. He likes the simple things of life. That pretty much sums up who Sam is. Kelsier, he smiles in the face of everything. Why? Because happiness cannot be stolen from him, even though everything else was. On the flip side, Vin and her cautious nature. This caution is a big part of her character. Even as she grows, it matures into a very healthy caution instead of her being timid of everything. Look at Cinder from the Lunar Chronicles. Her cybernetics are a big part of her character, not only visually, but it's a part of this arc of accepting who she is, to accept every part of her, including the parts that are added. And then one of my favorite examples of this is Tress from Tress of the Emerald Sea and her cups. Do cups have any bearing on the story? No, they don't. It is just a fascination that she has that is fun and playful in the story. So you can have these defined qualities, be really rooted in who your character is, in their growth arc, in their struggle, or you could just have it be fun for them, like Tress and her collection of cups, which I can relate to. I've saved the most important part for last. All of this stuff is stuff that you can figure out before you begin drafting, but this piece will only come as you are actively drafting your project, and that is let your characters do their thing. If you want to make your characters better, let your characters do their thing. Sometimes your characters will just go off the rails and want to do their own thing, and they just want to completely deviate from the perfect plot that you've perfectly outlined and figured out. For example, I've had a prominent character show up a book early, and I have two other characters that didn't exist in the outlining phase that are really important now in the drafting phase. Sometimes your characters will just surprise you. Don't stifle that. Let your characters surprise you. This is a part of the writing process. No matter how much you plan, no matter how much you outline and organize, you will always have some semblance of discovery writing in your writing process. When your characters want to go off the rails, when they want to do something that you don't have planned, don't stifle it. Explore it. These are some of the most fun moments you will have when you write. I love when my characters start doing whatever they want, and then I'll just explore. I know they'll eventually get back on track with the plot, or what they're doing will probably enhance the plot in a way that I hadn't planned. So, why does this happen? Why do your characters go off the rails? Why do they go off book and do their own thing to begin with? This is not some magic that you as a writer have, and you are not a writer because you don't have it. This is actually a kudos to you. This means you understand your characters well enough, you understand your world well enough, and your story well enough that your subconscious kind of takes over as you're beginning to write and put things together. So don't stifle this creativity. This is where some of your most fun moments will show up while you're writing. So remember these 5 things next time you're feeling stuck with your character. Make sure that your character has agency, that they are actively making decisions for themselves, and don't just feel like a puppet on a string being pulled along. Make sure your character has a growth arc. Remember, your growth arc doesn't actually have to be unfolding during the story's main event. It could have happened in the past. But if your character's growth arc does happen in the past and they are your protagonist, their stoicism is going to be forcing the world around them through a growth arc. Giving your character a theme is going to be a really solid way to ground them. Theme is like the glue that holds your story together and makes everything cohesive. Give your character a defining quality. Give them a little something memorable to help their silhouette stick in your audience's mind. And finally, don't stifle your characters when they want to go off book. If you figured out a plot line of your story and you know where you want to go and you know how their growth arc will end, they will eventually get there. But the way they get there may surprise you. Let me know in the comments below, which of these qualities are you going to incorporate today? And if you want more on character growth tips, check out this video right here.